What's up guys, Luis here and welcome back to the channel. On today's video we're going to be talking about the best way, or what I think is the best way to get started in real estate, and that is through house hacking. So what is house hacking? House hacking is not putting in some sort of cheat code and a house pops up. It's not like a hack, anything like that. House hacking is essentially going to be renting out a property while you also currently reside on said property. And there's multiple ways to house hack. So the first way is going to be, for example, with a single family home. You're going to buy the single family home and say you have a 4-bedroom house. You're going to live in one of the bedrooms, and then the other 3 you're going to rent out to friends, and that essentially is going to cover your mortgage, and that is house hacking. So the other way to house hack is through multifamily units. So you can get a 2 to 4 unit property, which is a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, and you would live in one of the units and rent out the remaining units. And that essentially, again, is going to offset your cost. Whether it cover your whole mortgage or partially cover your mortgage, you're still going to be cutting your expenses with house hacking. And if you find a good enough house hack deal, you can actually live for free, which doesn't mean live for free, but essentially you're getting rid of your living expenses. So you would no longer be paying rent because your roommates are going to be covering your mortgage and your tenants are going to be covering your mortgage, all while living on the same property. It's a great way to get into real estate because you're going to be right next to these tenants that you have because you're also living on the same property. And it's something that I really wish I would have done in college. I know most people in college spend their whole 4 or 5 years renting when they could have bought a home and rented it out to their friends who are going to be renting either way. And after those 4 or 5 years, they would have built up this equity. They would have had all this cash flow. They would have been living for free. They would have been able to save more money just because, again, they weren't paying rent or anything. So what are some of the benefits as far as house hacking? One of the biggest benefits is you can actually use an FHA loan, which you only need about 3.5% down. So you don't need to come up with that 20% down or 25% down. You only need 3.5% down to get into a property and start house hacking it, which is like kind of insane because if you get into a fourplex, you can put 3.5% down because it's going to be an owner occupied property. So you are calling it your personal residence, but it's also 3 units that you now are going to own and control. And nowhere else can you get into an investment property with as little as 3.5% down. And on top of that, since it is an owner occupied property, your interest rate is going to be a lot lower than if it was an investment property. The interest on investment properties is typically higher than owner occupied. And another benefit obviously is if you find a good enough deal, you can completely cut your living expenses away. And by living expenses, I mean your rent, your mortgage payment, your place to live is going to be completely covered. And at that point, you can save more money. And on top of that, while you are living for free, if you find a good enough deal, you're also getting loan pay down from your tenants. You're also getting appreciation depending on your market. So that was a really quick overview over what house hacking is. There's already a ton of videos out on the YouTube world, so I'm not trying to repeat what everybody else is saying. So we're just going to go over how to quickly analyze a house hack deal. Just make sure when you go out and analyze your house hack that you run your numbers correctly, because again, these numbers are going to vary depending on every market. This is just a hypothetical we're going to quickly go through and then hopefully help some of you be able to break that down. So let's just say we bought a duplex for $200,000. Our down payment, what is 3.5% on that, is going to be $7,000, right? So your down payment is going to be around $7,000 plus closing costs. So maybe like $9,000, $10,000. Let's just say $10,000 to be safe. So you're going to put the $10,000 down. You're going to have a remaining mortgage of about $190,000. So a mortgage payment on $190,000 is probably going to be in the $1,000 to $1,100 range. So let's just say $1,000 just to keep numbers simple. So on top of that, you're going to have your insurance, your taxes, and your PMI. With an FHA loan, you do have to pay for mortgage insurance. It is going to add to your overall expenses. So just something to keep in mind. These are all hypothetical numbers, but let's just say with your mortgage, insurance, taxes, and your PMI, your total expenses are $1,300, right? So now you can look at the unit that you actually have for rent. So let's just say that the duplex that you bought is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath on each side. So now you can rent that 2-bedroom, 1 bath for hypothetically, again, $1,100. So now your out-of-pocket expenses are $200, right? But you also have a spare room in the duplex side that you're living in, which you can rent to a friend for, let's say, $500. So now your mortgage is completely covered. You're essentially cash flowing $200 or $300 a month, and you're living for free. Now you get to save this $500-$600 that you were paying a month in rent, plus your cash flowing $200. So that's $800 a month that you can now just start saving. So again, these numbers were just kind of plain numbers. They don't mean anything. Every market's going to be different, but essentially that's how you want to look at a deal. You want to make sure that your expenses will be covered by the tenants in place and the roommates that you plan to have. Hopefully this video gets one of you guys to get into a house hack. So with that being said, guys, you guys already know, quit the slack and make it happen. Go out there and find a deal. If you guys have any questions on house hacking at all, go ahead and drop that down in the comments. Again, I am a rookie. I'm still learning with you guys, but I will try to answer the question to the best of my ability. And with that being said, Luis signing out. Appreciate you guys.